The youth are constantly told what to do. Beta ye karo ya beta ye mat karo. But instead we the youth ask, what's the point? We want to figure out everything on our own. So, welcome to What's the Point, a podcast powered by Y Connect. Here is the space where you can join us to reflect, challenge the norms, and discover what you truly want. Today, we have a really special guest with us who has completely redefined what it means to be a teenager. At age 16, Meet Deore is not only the founder of his own Deni Bikes, which is a sustainable e-bike company, but he's also pitched his ideas at Shark Tank. Welcome to What's the Point? So today we have Meet Deore with us today.
Hi.
So he's the founder of an e-bike automobile venture,
Right.
and you call it Deni Bikes,
Deni
right?
Bikes, right.
Yes. And what else? What else can you tell us about yourself, Meet? Who is Meet?
So I love cars.
Yeah.
I'm really involved into automobile, and then I love having fun in life. So the only motive I think is having fun. Enjoy all the processes that happen, even work. So find something that you enjoy, and then that's what your passion would be, right? So like make a living out of what you like.
Okay, so what's your entire story like?
So, I used to love automobiles and cars from the very starting of my life. And then I used to spot random cars on the roads and then, tell my parents the cars that I would spot. And then I got into that automobile kind of interest. I would, start building a few tiny projects like, a Bone Vita stirrer or something that would help me in daily life basically. And then so those tiny projects and the love for cars or the automobile sector, so I combined both of that and then got into this field where I build automobile projects, so like a tiny go-kart or an electric bicycle or an electric bike, which is the Deni Alpha, which shows on Shark Tank as well. So that's how I got into this field.
And what's your favorite automobile model? Which is your favorite company, brand?
So right now in electric,
Yeah, not your own.
yeah, definitely. In electric, it's Ather because I've been seeing their story from the very starting, and then they are the ones who actually started this electric revolution in scooters and in two-wheelers in India, right? So they faced a lot of problems in the starting, and then I've been tracking how they overcame those problems and then moved ahead to what they are right now. So I really like the story, and their products are amazing. Their branding is amazing as well. That's why I love Ather.
So how was it like in school? How were you like as a student in school?
In school,
When you were younger.
yeah,
When you started out. So were people like, oh, he's very creative, or he's in his own zone, or he's really bubbly in class? What would teachers say to describe you?
So, I used to love doing mischief in school. I've done a lot of masti, and I've never, focused a lot on academics, but also doing other stuff, right? So, I used to love being with my friends and then playing around in the school, doing mischief, not always focus on studies, right? And I was like a social kind of child. So, but then at the same time, I would build like these projects which would impress my teachers. So I got good grades as well. And then, but then the mischiefs would also bring me down. So there was like this balance between in my school life, right? So I loved that kind of period.
So you were like the star of the science fair also, but
Yeah.
also a little bit naughty on
Yeah.
the side.
Yes.
So how's your family like with, how you balance innovation? Did they influence you? You have a sister as well, right?
Right.
So how does that come into play with what you do?
So from the innovation point of view, it was not much of their, help or anything like that. Innovation was fully what I did.
Yeah.
But their support towards my innovation, that was like a major part in what built me and what I've made till now, right? All the projects that I've done. So their support was insane, and then that's what actually pushed me to make such projects. And my sister, she's not really into this automobile kind of sector, but she's into other stuff. So that's, yeah, she didn't really bother of what I did.
I think on the Shark Tank episode as well, you said that your cousins help you out with some of the building and stuff.
Yeah, so that was only for like a day or something when they had come to visit my house, and then they, because they also got kind of influenced by my projects, and then they also started liking this sector. And they're also automobile freaks, right? So they would also help me, like not help, but like hold the frame when I was drilling, or just like minor helps. Yeah. So that's how they would learn as well from me.
Okay, so why Deni Bikes? Why? Where did it come about? How? Why?
So Deni is basically my dad's surname and my mom's surname combined. So Deore is my dad's surname and Nikam is my mom's surname.
Okay.
So it's like combined to become Deni. And then it was a good name, right? I found it very nice. And then so that continued. And I actually made this name like a lot in fifth grade maybe when,
Oh.
yeah.
What's the story?
So the same thing, I was just sitting on a random Sunday probably and thinking about random stuff, and then I came to discover Deni as a name, and then I continued that
That's like a
in my
short
further.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but when did you decide that this is going to be your venture? Why did you not think, acha, let me wait a few years, I'll wait till I'm done with my studies, then I'll get into this. But instead you thought, nay, I'll just start right now. What made you want to do that?
Okay, so basically, the Deni Alpha, which is the bike that I pitched on Shark Tank,
Yeah.
started off as a personal project
Okay.
because I didn't get a bike to ride. So I made my own, and I had an interest in it as well, right? So I just wanted to build my own
Oh,
bike.
so you weren't allowed to get a bike and that's why you...
Not really, because
Okay.
so basically my interest in bikes and also building.
Yeah.
Because I had developed that interest,
Okay.
and I rather chose to build my own bike with my own customizations instead of buying another bike, right? So I made my personal bike, and then I used to go out for like test rides and stuff, right? And then that's where the people would stop me, so the common people, they would stop me, and then they would ask me more about what I was riding, because it was quite unfamiliar, right? Because it was a custom frame, custom everything. So they would look at that and then question me about what it was. And when I told them more about the costing and how I made it, they were like, can we also buy this? And can you actually make it for us? So that's where the business idea actually came. The same kind of production style where it's an affordable electric made in India bike, but then also for the masses, right? Yeah.
So, if there's somebody just like you who wants to start something like this, where do they start off then? What would you tell them? What's your first step?
Your first step would be probably identifying what you're passionate about. And then also in school, there are a few tinkering labs which you could take help of, right? And so maybe third party competitions could like organize this kind of, a competent environment where many schools would come together to complete
hackathons
something,
and
like
stuff.
hackathons, but
Yeah.
for tinkering basically. And then that's how you'd actually take a step into this field probably.
And get more exposure. And
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So, have you learned a lot maybe from your peers or exposure?
Stuff like that.
So I've learned most of the stuff from YouTube itself, right?
Right, yeah.
YouTube was huge in 2014, so I discovered a lot of stuff from YouTube. I learned a lot of stuff from YouTube. I used to watch a lot of car reviews, like random cars, BMWs, Mercedes, all those car reviews. That's how I got more interested in how they work, right? And then I used to also watch like a few random videos where they would build like a skateboard maybe with a wooden plank with two wheels and they would screw it in. So that's how that kind of building phase got into me.
Okay. So, do you think right now the sort of space that we're in India is fostering innovation among the youth way better than maybe years ago?
Right now, there are a few competitions that are held by government,
Yeah.
but then they are not as, I would say comprehensive as a third party would offer, right?
Like Shark Tank, for example.
Like Shark Tank or any other kind of company which could, organize these events or these competitions in schools or in like an inter-school competition where children could like basically use their tinkering labs in their schools and then build few projects to compete against other schools. That's how you can get that angle of actually implementing what you've thought of and your ideas.
Okay, so have you ever thought of working for the government? I mean, tech, right now they're really looking for people in tech.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered maybe going into the army, making stuff for them? Does ethics come into place somewhere there?
Yeah. So basically, I've not really thought about joining the government right now for building their technology or anything. But right now, it's on a personal scale, and then now I'm gonna, you know, enter the market as like my own company,
Yourself, yeah.
my own startup, right?
Yeah.
I do not.
So you want to go proper into the business side, like the entrepreneurial side of stuff.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, how do you balance that business side and your more innovative, sciencey side?
So there's always been like a business environment in my house, right?
Okay.
And then so my parents would be discussing more about their business, and then I would just sit there on the couch listening to what they're talking about, right? So that helped me to turn my projects into an actual business, right? So even to just get an idea of what it's like to run a business with my projects, that was a good exposure that I got, and then that's how I got into the business side basically.
Right. Okay. So, do you have a team also that helps you, or is it just you?
It's just
Are
me
you the
till now.
team?
I am the team. Yeah, so just me for now, building the
expand?
projects. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely looking to expand, but in the next coming few years, because right now I want to focus on studies just for a year till I get into a good college where I would get, good opportunities, and that's where I would actually scale my startup.
A little more.
Yeah.
So, what's your aim for which college are you aiming for?
Bits Pilani.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so because Bits Pilani has an insane startup culture, right?
Yeah.
So that would really help as well. And then their zero attendance policy.
Isn't
That's
there
also
one in Goa as well?
in Goa,
I
yeah.
had a few friends who just wanted to go there because it's in Goa.
Because it's in
Yeah,
Goa.
it was party. Yeah, you
Yeah,
just go
party.
there. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, do you think you'll get in?
I want to get in 100%, and I will try my best, obviously.
So, how's the prep for that going? How do you balance it with everything you're already working on, projects, studies?
Yeah, so the prep is, I would say, going well. I need to take the pace right now, basically. But so coaching, there's a coaching class which I go to,
Okay.
right, for preparing for those exams. So that's just 3 hours in the morning, and then baki you have to do self-study at home when you come,
Yeah.
right? But then at the same time, I'm also keeping an eye out on the opportunities that I'm getting right now because of Shark Tank.
Right.
That's been a major kind of source.
What are some opportunities, if you don't mind sharing, that you're getting?
Yeah, so a few collaborations with already existing EV leaders, basically.
Okay.
A few internships in their companies, or just even spreading the company motive or anything like that. That's also a big opportunity that I'm getting right now.
Okay, so if you had to describe Deni Bikes in maybe a sentence, a tagline, something like that, what have you thought of?
I would probably say affordable electric bikes for the masses,
Okay.
because it's not there in India right now. That one sweet spot of a price range that we're targeting, there's no one over there, and there is a quite of a demand over there, and I would like to fulfill that gap.
So is it just like a business sort of perspective, or do you also have like a attachment to it? Maybe a personal thought that you put in, maybe some social reason.
Yeah, so um, it is more of a business side on it, but then also while testing, as I said, while testing my electric bike, I would find a lot of people who are looking for bikes in that kind of price range, right? So that really hit me, and then that's also the social kind of cause that I'm trying to solve.
I would like to know, when you wake up every single day, you're processing a lot every single day, right?
Right,
As a
yeah.
16-year-old compared to other 16-year-olds. So do you wake up normally as a 16-year-old, or do you feel like a CEO?
No, I do not. I wake up like a normal 16-year-old, obviously. I snooze my alarm like 100 times before waking up. And then I get into the hot shower and then come out. That's all.
So do you have like any routine that you follow as soon as you wake up? Anything for innovation, creativity?
So as soon as I wake up, I like to listen to loud music, that's all. So that keeps me going through the day. And then that's pretty much it. Just a normal morning.
And loud music, like what are you into?
Rap. Kendrick.
Yeah, okay. Not like us. Yeah, got it. So tell me a little bit about your childhood. How did you get into the space of innovation? Where did it all start?
Okay. So from the very start, I was really into automobile, right? I used to love cars. I still love cars. Spotting cars daily, out on the road, naming all of them. That's how it started, that interest in cars. And then at the same time, I used to love solving, like, even minor problems inconveniences that I used to face in my daily life, right? So then that's how I started making like tiny projects. For example, a Bonvita stirrer, which was my very first project, right? And then, so that's how it started. So that angle of building and then the other angle of liking cars and then bikes, that's how I merged both of them to get what I'm doing right now. Making automobiles, or building bikes or go-karts. That's what I got into then.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's nice. So do you think being from Pune kind of affected a lot, like influenced you, I would say, rather, that space, being in Pune?
Being in Pune, actually, that picture came later when I discovered that, the manufacturing and a lot of the automobile, manufacturing processes happen in Pune itself, right? So I got to know that later. But then from the starting, it would be the same without any Pune thing. But then in the future, me living in Pune, it really helps a lot. So, going to see all those manufacturing units, or getting that influence and then bringing it into my life, that really helps in being in Pune.
So speaking of influences, who are your role models?
Role models.
Yes. Maybe from Musk to proper Nikola Tesla, anything there?
I don't really have a role model, but I like to do what what takes me there. So that's just the passion that I have. There's not really anyone I looked up to, but Ratan Tata was a really good, kind of influence. Seeing how he started Tata and then the whole Tata Motor Group, that was that was also like an inspiration for me. And then me also liking automobile, same things matched, and then that's how I got the influence. Right.
And how did your family come into play here? Anything from your parents, something that they said or introduced you to at some point in your life that really had an impact on you for this?
So my family's support was the biggest thing that impacted my journey. Their full support, 100% support in my whole journey was, really crucial for what I'm doing right now. And, not opposing to anything I wanted to do, be it like in this building things or any other kind of thing, or not forcing me into something like studies or only like academics or any kind of sport. That was a very major thing that shaped into what I am right now. So yeah, not forcing your child to do something really helps. And then it made me discover what I liked, what I was passionate for. Fortunately, at a young age, I got to know that. And then now I'm building upon it, right? So that was really helpful.
So, were there any TV shows or movies that you saw instead that influenced you, since your parents were pretty open to you discovering things on your own?
Yeah. So Cars, the whole series,
Yes.
Cars,
Yes.
Pixar. So that was an amazing, series of movies which I loved. All related to cars, right? And then also I used to watch a few TV shows. I don't remember its name, but then it would also be related to building some sort of things. And then YouTube was a big platform where I would watch such kind of videos, where I would see a few, people like coming together and then taking, chainsaws and then wooden planks and then like building something creative, and then, imagining on their own and then bringing that into real life. So that's also a connection that I had, and then the same thing. And
Wow, that's really cute. So speaking of YouTube, we found some of your stuff on YouTube. So we've seen that you tinker around with stuff in your room. Do you have any specific space you work out of? Maybe a garage, something like that. Where does the stuff come alive for you?
it's my desk, 100%. So my desk is huge right now.
Yeah.
It goes all across the room, and it has like different sections where I would a tiny section for studies, but then the rest of the table would be tinkering. So basically like making circuits or soldering, or making connections, or that's the whole, basically that's my workspace basically, right? And my desk would be the main thing where I would even ideate.
Yeah.
Even from ideating to actually executing the thing, all on my desk, and I'm in love with my desk. So that's all. Yeah.
So you do everything on your desk, right from studying to properly your workspace.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you a PCM student?
Right. Yeah. I'm a PCM student.
So how good would you say you are in PCM? Which is your weak subject? Which is your best?
What do you think?
Physics is obviously the most interesting for me right now. Chemistry would probably be the weakest, but physics, I love physics. Because I can also, imagine or, also like visualize what's going on in physics. It's more helpful for me to like figure out and then solve all the questions.
Okay. So currently you're preparing for your JEE, right?
JEE.
Yeah. So how is it like coaching and balancing that with school, then also balancing it with your passion?
So coaching is, it's not a lot of time that you spend into coaching, right? It's just 3 hours, and then after that is mostly self-study at home. So the 3 hours that I go into my coaching class, that's all good. After coming home, I also self-study for a while, and then right now, because I'm not really building anything, but I'm focusing on more of studies right now. But I'm also keeping an eye out for the opportunities that are coming towards me because of the whole Shark Tank thing, right?
Right.
More
Yeah.
opportunities, right? So I will never let those opportunities go away, right? Because they are really important right now at this stage. So that's what I'm doing right now, keeping an eye out for those opportunities. At the same time, researching about what could be done in the EV space in the next few years. Any new developments that are coming right away, and then, just kind of taking in that knowledge.
Ah, right. So EV, right? It's all about sustainability. Is there any other social cause that's really close to you and something that you feel you could have an impact on?
A social cause, it would definitely be helping the poor maybe, or having, sourcing something to them which they can afford maybe. Because right now there are a lot of solutions in the market for the millions of problems that are going on in the world, but then most of them are really expensive.
Right.
And so we need more solutions that can be accessible by everyone, right, in the world. So that's what also I would be interested in.
I see. So, especially in the automobile industry, how do you think that sector could be made a little bit more accessible for people? Because transport is a huge issue in our country.
Yeah.
You come to Mumbai and it's like you're struggling to get from one place to another without the possibility of dying or something. So, what do you think?
Transport, basically, obviously, electric transport is quite expensive right now because of the batteries. 50-60% of the cost is in the batteries itself. But then it's also about saving money by using electric, right? So affordable electric bikes or automobile or transport would really help the problem that we talked about right now, right? So basically they don't have to refuel anything.
Right.
It's all very cheap. But then once the battery price comes down, I think electric mobility would be really accessible for that sector, the low income sector. Yeah.
So when you're talking about things like fuel and stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of ethics, I would say, related to it, like ethical debates over it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to innovation, how do you balance creativity, innovation, coming up with new stuff, and ethical responsibility? Where would you place yourself there?
Right. So, any project I take on to, I make sure that I research about what I'm going to be doing, right? So, the basics that I'm doing in my project, I make sure I'm researching about everything, what's going on. Discovering more about new technology on the internet is also a very, good source of taking knowledge, right? So new technology keeps coming around. That's the advantage of the internet that you can take, right? More researching and then also taking that into execution. Kind of using that into your own projects, but also keeping that ethical side maintained. Researching more about the the legalities, or
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah, that's how I like, you know, that's how I
Bring that in.
Bring
Yeah.
that in, yeah.
Exactly. So do you ever maybe speak to your parents or your family, take their input in things like this? Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. So I mostly ask my parents about the legalities or what the law says about these kind of projects that I'm making, but and then they're also very supportive in that case, right? They support they help me with the legal knowledge that I need to execute a project maybe, and then yeah, so that's where they support, and then yeah.
So you were talking about research, right? And nowadays, our generation, we get most of our news and stuff from social media. I mean, I come to know about most of the stuff from maybe X, I was going to say Twitter, but X, or maybe Reddit. You find a very specific question and answer on Reddit, which exactly matches the scenario that you were looking for.
Yeah.
Where do you find most of your information? Just random websites, articles?
Random websites on Google. Any website on Google does the job. YouTube, again, being a very major source of knowledge for me. That's how it started, right? So I have this trust on YouTube for the knowledge that I get over there. But then generally any website that has the relevant information that I'm actually heading towards, and yeah, so that's just the random websites And then anything I get from there, I try to implement it. If that doesn't work, any other kind of source I use. And that's how it happens.
Okay. So, any channels you want to shout out? Something that people who are into the same field as you could look into if they want to also grow their knowledge base?
Yeah, so basically it's been a while since I've watched those videos. So that was way back in like 5th, 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's when I stopped watching those videos
Yeah.
and started innovating on my own projects, right? So stopped taking influence from maybe YouTube, but then also putting in my knowledge and my creativity into my projects. So I don't really remember any of the YouTube channels that I used to take inspiration from, but there are a few Indian channels like Creative Channel or Creative Science, the other two like YouTube channels that also do the same kind of stuff.
Okay. And where do you then get your best ideas from? Is it in the shower, or is it when you're actually hands-on working on something? Maybe while you're listening to music. How do you form that whole thought process?
So my ideas mostly come out of a paper. If there's a notebook in front of me, I sit in front of it with a pen in my hand and I keep drawing like random figures. And that's how I find like, new designs for any of the projects I'm making. For example, a bike, right? There can be hundreds of designs of a bike that you can actually implement, right? But then drawing random figures, not exactly random, but in the shape of a bike, and then making various elements. So like the battery on it and the motor. Trying to figure out all those components on the drawing. That's how I get an inspiration for the kind of projects I'm making.
Right. So you like to visualize.
I like to visualize on a paper basically. I draw the whole thing that I'm making. I try to fit the components that it needs. If that doesn't work out, a new figure, and then again the same process until I find a perfect kind of figure or like a shape or a frame shape for the bike that I'm making, and then that's how it works.
So how does trial and error come in here?
Trial and error, trying to visualize the mechanics of what I'm making. So, for example, just take a bike itself, right?
Yeah.
I draw a bike on the paper and then trying to figure out where the suspension goes, where the motor would go, what kind of problems it would have in any of the working of the bike. That's what I visualize in my mind. And then that's how the trial and error works. If that fails, a new design where another placement of suspension, another placement of motor would work. So that's how it works, yeah.
And how do you go about getting parts for this? When you're setting it up, when you're creating something new, how do you get the parts together?
So my parts are basically sourced from online websites.
Okay.
So everything I get, so all the components that I use in my bike are from online marketplaces, but then also researching about the specifications of that component, like the voltage, the wattage, that also takes a role, right? So also taking inspiration also helps a lot in that process. Watching other videos where they use a similar specifications motor, and then they also install it into a similar frame. That's how I get the inspiration, and then I also look up for this similar specifications of a motor or anything like that.
Okay, so there's a lot of like you self-discovering everything, finding out things on your own.
Yeah.
So does school somehow come into play here? Do you feel like the education system could do a better job of, helping people innovate better? Do you think they're doing a good job with that, with fostering all that?
So the education system, it's in the Indian education system, it's really focused on academics, I would say.
Right.
There's not much of actually executing your ideas in a school, right? Actually making something or building something into the practical space. So that's what I think should be there in every school, you know, a tinkering lab at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Where
Yeah,
you
yeah,
would-
yeah.
where you can actually like visualize stuff and then try to figure it out, you know.
Yeah, like play around with stuff. Like when you were a kid and you were in play school and things were just around and you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
touch and feel everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's also how you get an idea of what you're, you know, playing with or what you're building.
Yeah.
So is that also how you started playing around with stuff? Things were just lying there. How did you start playing around and tinkering around with stuff? Were you know, dismantling a pen maybe one day?
Definitely, yeah. So, you know, dismantling my RC cars basically, and then trying to learn about the shaft system, the gears on the car itself. That's how also I got into that. And then only theoretical knowledge will not, you know, it's not enough to
It'll just get
actually
you
do
to
something.
some point.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
We are kicking off a rapid fire round.
Okay.
So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously.
Do you want a sip of water first or anything?
No, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go in. Very simple. Coffee or chai?
Chai.
Okay. Favorite show?
Friends.
Okay. Which character are you most like, you think?
Most like, I don't know. I would say. This is not rapid. Wait.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I'll ask again. So, which is the character you're most like?
Maybe Joey.
Okay. And
Joey.
which one do you like more?
Joey.
Okay. Checks out. So, if not engineering, then what else?
I have to think. Wait.
We'll come back to this.
Designing. I'll just say designing.
Oh, designing.
Yeah.
Like product design?
Product design, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly.
All right. And okay, agree or disagree with the Sharks' decision of not funding you?
Agree.
Okay. One thing you cannot live without,
My phone.
of course. And best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't rush through education, basically.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
And who are you closest to in your life?
My mom. Probably.
Okay.
Yes.
And have you ever had a Hot Wheels phase?
Yes, I have.
How many do you have?
It's still there. So I've like, I have a collection where I do not open
Okay.
the cases, right?
Oh, so you just keep it there in its display.
Yeah, exactly.
And you mentioned your favorite movie is Car. So which is your favorite car in that?
Lightning McQueen. The
Okay.
obvious one.
Of course, okay. So, yeah, and on Shark Tank, which was the shark that was the warmest towards you?
Anupam Mittal.
Okay.
Yes.
And who gave you the best advice out of all of them?
Anupam Mittal.
Okay, great. And what did he say, if you don't mind sharing with anybody else who needs to hear it?
So he was also towards you know, dropping out and continuing with the startup I was building, but I didn't want to really do that. But then his thoughts on what I should be doing once I start the startup, like working on the startup,
Yeah.
that's what I actually liked, you know.
Yeah, what did he mention exactly? Do you
So
remember?
like, you know, just a bit of the market you should be
Right.
targeting, or what kind of companies should be, you know, going against and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about your own bike. You were talking about your own personalized bike.
Yeah.
What color did you go for?
It's black.
Oh, why black?
Black.
You like black?
I like black, yeah.
Yeah.
And most
okay.
of my parts were black, so I went for black. I didn't have to like repaint everything, right?
Yeah. Typical prototype.
Typical
sort of
prototype,
thing.
yeah.
Okay. So, do you have any message for the youth? Something that you can give them? Something you've learned through
Okay.
your journey right now?
Yeah. So I'd like to say that, you know, you must try to find your passion from a young age. And
Okay.
not only focus on academics,
Uh-huh.
for the school going kids basically, not only on academics but also on what you like and what you love, what your interests are towards, and then what your actual passion is. If you find that, you won't find that as work. Okay, so I'd like to say that you should find your passion from a very young age. I feel that's really important because you know, once you find your passion and you start developing, you know, towards it, that doesn't feel like work basically.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, have fun in everything.
So my motive is basically having fun in everything you do, right? So, you know, find fun in the work you do.
Yeah.
It won't feel like work, and then you'll just enjoy it basically. But then finding your passion from a young age, you can develop that and then also become great at it at a young age, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you can like actually build on it.
Isn't that a little bit like contrasting to what people, you know, stereotypically think about things like
Yeah.
engineering? So have you ever faced that sort of stereotype, like, yeah, this is an engineering kid, you know, you're supposed to follow some rat race, things like that.
Yeah.
Do people place some sort of stereotype on you, do you feel?
So people think that if there's nothing that interests you, you should go into engineering.
Yeah.
Right? That's really wrong because if you should at least find something that interests you, but then not finding anything does not mean you go into engineering because
Right.
that's like a rat race maybe.
Yeah.
JEE, that's
It's like a default option
it's
nowadays.
like a default option nowadays, right? So that's what I do not like. But so the ones who are actually passionate about engineering, maybe the ratio gets messed up.
Yeah, so does that somewhat disappoint you sometimes? Like,
It does.
Like, I actually care about this so
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
and people aren't taking it as seriously, maybe, or having fun with it as much as me.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
That happens.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Meet, for being here. It was so nice speaking with you, and I'm sure a lot of the things that you said resonated with people, it inspired people, and you were really real throughout everything. So,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot
Thank
for having
you.
me.